Welcome to the complete comic book history of the Dark Knight. I am Salazar Knight and this is year 14 in the history of Batman. Unlike the previous year, there are new characters introduced and others not so new in this year. So let's begin. The first new villain is Firefly, introduced in Detective Comics 184. However, this version is nothing like the modern character who is a pyromaniac and an expert arsonist. The original Firefly is nothing like that. He is a special effects expert who turns to crime and adopts the name Firefly. But instead of burning things, he uses special effects to perform crimes. It's very similar to Mysterio, the Spider-Man villain, and they almost have the same taste and fashion. In the story, Firefly is called the Man of 1,000 Lights because of the special lights he uses in his crimes, and because of how simple this is, he is quickly captured and never makes an appearance again until the 80s. Nowadays, we all know the cool version of Firefly, and his most important and recent appearance was in the game Batman Arkham Origins. Now, it is also important to mention that around this time, Superman number 76 was published, and this is the first comic book featuring Batman and Superman together on the same story as the main characters, and working together as partners. And this is a breaking point according to continuity retcons. It has been established that this issue marks the first appearance of the Earth 1 universe. Up until this point, from the very beginning of DC, every comic of every story has taken place in the universe known as Earth 2. This definition wouldn't appear until 30 years later, but just so you understand, Earth 2 is the universe of the Golden Age characters and Earth 1 is the universe of the Silver Age characters. Long story short, Superman number 76 is the first change from the Golden Age to the Silver Age, but we're not there yet. And because the Silver Age is coming closer, stuff like this happens in Batman number 72. The Jungle Batman. And this is nothing compared with the real Silver Age stuff. Next up there is Detective Comics 187, and yet again we get another Two-Face wannabe. This time it's a man called George Blake, a guy who used makeup to become Two-Face and blamed Harvey Dent for his crimes. Batman was the only one who knew Harvey was innocent, and he knew that because he's Batman. No, but seriously, this Two-Face poser used makeup in the wrong side of his face. Again, this just proves that Two-Face was a good enough character to keep around. After all, this is the third guy who tries to become Two-Face. Next, there is Detective Comics 188, and this is the first issue that shows an underground secret entrance used by Batman to drive the Batmobile into the Batcave. This entrance became so popular that it was used in many other versions of Batman, such as the TV series from the 60s and Batman the Animated Series. Next, there's Batman number 73, and as you might already have guessed, this comic includes a story in which a Joker creates his own version of the utility belt. The twist is that it's filled with prank tools, none of which are deadly, including his now trademark Joy Buzzer. There's not much to say about it, so let's just move on. Now, I just want to point out that some of the covers from World's Finest have been funny and silly so far, but this one is just weird. I mean, look at that! What kind of pose is that? This is the reason why a few years later people were saying that these two were gay. And this was also part of the reason why the Comics Code Authority was created. Moving on, there's Batman number 74, and this issue is notable because the Joker is diagnosed with some kind of mental illness and is taken to an insane asylum for the first time. In the story, Joker just pretends to be insane so he can infiltrate the asylum and contact a wealthy man inside. However, this is the earliest idea of making the Batman villains mentally insane, which is something so important for the Batman mythos in the modern times, but as you can see, back then it was just a gimmick. And to end this year we have World's Finest number 62, where Batman wears knight armor for the first time. This would be used again 50 years later on the 1998 one-shot called Batman Dark Knight of the Round Table. And that was year 14. There are only a couple more years of the gap before the Silver Age officially starts, and we're gonna take a look at the most important events of these years in the complete comic book history of the Dark Knight. So if you don't want to miss any videos, go ahead and subscribe, it's free! And while you're at it, take a look at the Golden Bat, the first series of this channel.